All right, boys. All right. Episode 1 of El Vestuario. We'll talk a little bit about what El Vestuario is about. 5 of us here. One was a bit late, but we won't hold it against him, coño. All right. What we're about, El Vestuario, is a bunch of guys who started a bit of a tipping comp, and it was mostly about football, and then it evolved into every topic under the sun. So it became a bit political, a bit racist at times, controversial. But it's been going on, I think we said 2015. Is that right, boys?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
2015. So
8 years.
2015.
it's a long time. A lot of... and thanks to Facebook, they added the search history so we can go back and look at all those features. But yeah, look, I'll talk about El Vestuario. My biggest, I think, memory of that was joining a tipping comp. We had a whole heap of participants in that, and ever since then, it's been my go-to almost every day, and listen to you blokes kind of talk about shit. And,
Pretty much.
See what we can do.
El Vestuario helped me get through COVID, mate. It was good distraction during COVID. It was good laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd probably be a better carpenter if it wasn't for El Vestuario.
Well, more productive,
I agree. To be honest, I don't think there's one day I haven't thrown a message or seen a message pop up on El Vestuario.
100%.
It's been like every day. Anything, like sport related or guys, did you see this?
When there hasn't, and then when there hasn't been anyone messaging for the whole day, you feel a bit weird. You're like, fuck, I better put something on there, man. Check in with the guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a few times where people say it's a bit quiet when no one was messaging for 3 days straight. You felt a bit lonely.
I feel like throwing out the, are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, but look, it came out good, right? So it was all about football, and that's what all our passion and what we put up on the YouTube channel. But it evolved and became something a lot more. And even, I don't know, I think we mentioned it as well somewhere in the chat. My wife gives me shit all the time about what are you doing on the chat? What are you talking about? So it's a good little...
Yeah, who you talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not only about sports
definitely.
or politics, right? We talk about men's health, so that's a big one. That's a big topic now.
Yeah.
Each of us have our issues, and we share it, and it's quite good. I kind of get good feedback out of that. How about we do a bit of an intro, right? So I'm Diego. How I know you blokes? I married into I'll mention his name, Rob's family. And you guys are all friends with Rob. So that's how I came about knowing you guys through Facebook. But my passion, football, obvious. And kind of from there we evolve and we go from there. But next one on my screen, we've got Daz wearing the Leeds United shirt. Commiserations.
Representing here.
Yeah, commiserations.
Depends.
The second tier of English football. Yeah.
And nice, you got some wigs in the background.
I thought we weren't going to talk about it. We don't have time.
We've got Courtney up on the left and Jody on the right wanted to join in for the. I don't know if you guys can see him over there, but they'll be here for the whole episode anyway.
That's for your weekend dress-ups party, is it, Daz?
Yeah. Look, we all have a bit of that. No, look, guys. Obviously, going back to like the intros. I mean, these guys, Diego, obviously we met probably just after, I met these boys, and I think we would have been around 16, Johnny, when we first met. Obviously, me and Johnny dated twins, and ever since then, we grew into a really close friendship. We worked with each other, and so and then Conyo, obviously, went to Freeman with Johnny, part of that same group, and Esty, I always knew him through school soccer, I guess. Esty went to Fairfield High School. I was at Bosley with the public school boys, and we obviously played each other in school soccer, and obviously the dynamic just it just worked. You guys were really close, and we've known each other for now. We're pushing 26, 27 years, somewhere around there, I'd say. It's
seeing each other's kids grow up.
It's crazy, it's crazy.
I met Esty at the Ethnic Cup. We were like 14
wow.
years old. 14 years old, and I met this bloke on the top of you know the toilets. You know you could
Yeah,
climb up the
you
top
can
of
jump
the
on the
toilet.
roof.
You
Yeah.
jump on the roof.
Which
It was
stadium?
on
Leakham Oval.
Leakham
Oval, this one.
And it was like
Leakham Oval,
the toilets and the change rooms, just like all concrete, all bricks, concrete. So we got on the roof and we used to watch the games from up there. And that's why I met Esty. He just kept telling me about this Chilena that he scored
Right.
that day.
If you were there, if only you were there. I'll never forget that day. And my
He couldn't
dad,
start talking about himself. He scored this hectic Chilena. He kept telling me about it all day.
and in a small-sided field too. It was only like 6 aside, I think.
Oh,
And I remember my dad telling me, if you can score a Chilena, we go to the old Video Easy and you can hire a game. The first thing I did is ran straight to my dad.
We're talking about a bicycle kick. I thought you actually scored a Chilena.
No.
Yeah, like a bicycle kick. Yeah.
Oh, no, Diego.
Oh, no, not that
I
way.
went there. I think it was.
No. Actual physical, like sporting. Yeah, that was Uruguay versus Chile. I think that was the final, wasn't it, John?
Final, yeah.
Yeah, la final. And we won. It was like we won the World Cup. It was crazy. It was really good.
Yeah, we ran on the field. It's just a fun
Yeah.
Epic World Cup.
All right, well, seeing as though you're talking, Johnny, just give me a little bit about you, mate. How'd you meet these guys? Same?
My name's Johnny. I met Dazza, like you said. I met Dazza in like 1999. We dated twins. Esty and I about 96, 97. That ethnic cup was.
Yeah, probably.
Conyo high school. Went to high school together. I actually joined their high school in year 10. I went to Prairiewood in year 7, 8, and 9, and then moved in year 10, and that's where I met Conyo. And Diego, mate, me and Diego, when I was friends with Rob from about 97, 98, so I probably would have met you around that time.
Seen you a few times at his house and at his bucks, which we'll leave it off the podcast, but sure. Anthony, what about you? We're wearing those black and unless you got all your teeth, which is good.
He's a man.
Yeah,
he's got them around the world, mate. Melbourne.
All right, big game Friday. Big game. Hey, I like multiple sports too. So sorry, Conyo.
That's a good topic.
Antonio only likes football and tennis.
No, better than multiple teams in the same sport, like our mate Diego over there. You know, choose a whole range of teams in the same competition.
No, we'll talk about that probably not
get there.
but in future ones.
Yeah,
it's a very important topic. I reckon a lot of people out there will agree.
Old, Diego? Is that what I got to look forward to?
No, well, you just appreciate life as you get older, boys.
Yeah, true. You enjoy the simple things like staying home.
So tell us about you, Wesley. Tell us about you. Come on.
Yeah, met the boys all through football, really. Johnny, as mentioned earlier. Daz, same story. I knew him, seen him all around football. And I think it was pretty much through the Wanderers that we started really getting close, like in RBB and just hanging out with the Wanderers when they joined in 2012, I think. So, that's when we started seeing pretty much each other every weekend.
And you guys would go to the RBB every home game?
Back in the old Parramatta Stadium when you can walk in there from the sides and, the good old days of
Does it not pay to go in or just...
No, you buy tickets anyway, you can pretty much walk in until they, then they blocked it off, you couldn't walk in. But you had to get RBB membership.
Oh, they actually blocked it off. Like you couldn't go in.
Yeah. Early days you could walk in. So, but and Conyo, it's like football. Antonio, through football, Bonnyrigg White Eagles. That's where I met most of the boys at under.
Did you play there as well?
That was under 15s. Yeah, they were there a year earlier, I think, 14s, and I came under 15s, and so a few of the boys were there, and so but basically all through football.
So
maintain the
interrupting you there with Bonnyrigg White Eagles. So there's a common coach that we all know. His name's Ugo Bueno. I think he's still alive. Yeah. Did you all play? I don't know about you, Daz. I didn't know you back then, but did you boys all play with Ugo Bueno?
I
did one season. Yeah.
I never actually played under. I knew him. I never played under him.
I never actually played under him either, but I do remember him.
Yeah, right.
I played under him 2 seasons. So
at White Eagles?
Yeah, no. I went from Park Soccer and he picked me out to go play with him during half the season at Bonnyrigg White Eagles.
Yeah.
And when he went to Super Youth to Southern Districts, he took me with him.
Oh, right.
So I played for Southern Districts at that time, and then we ended up coming second. We lost the grand finals to Blacktown City 1-0,
Yeah.
and he still got the ass because he wasn't playing
Playing the
His style.
he wasn't playing the sponsored kids.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what happened to you because my
Yeah.
dad. I don't know if my dad was your
Yeah.
manager, Johnny, or yours, Esty, but at White Eagles because he was manager with Uwa at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think he had that problem that he wasn't putting the Bonnyrigg White Eagle president's kids or sponsored kids, and yeah, he had a whole heap of trouble.
It's probably with US because I remember when I played under Hugo, Arturo was the manager. Remember Arturo?
Yeah. Well, when I got there was that Todd. I think Todd was his name. He was coaching the 15s when I jumped in, but it was actually Arturo because I played Marconi 13s and 14s, but didn't make the 16s. And I remember I was leaving Marconi with my dad, and he came running out and goes, "Oh, Bonnyrigg White Eagles training next week. Come try out." So I went to the 15s. That's where I met most of the boys, and then
That's exactly what happened
so Arturo
to me.
brought me over. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and really from that it was like that sliding door moment, So from that taking me there, met most of the boys, and then the rest is history. So it's funny how life turns out.
Close knit community. I think everyone knew everyone.
I went all
Yeah,
over Sydney but playing, man. That's the thing. I was, you know what? I look back at how I was as a teenager, and man, I wish I could go back there and just crack myself over the head and say, just stick to a team, mate.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
All right,
well,
But also, John, we had a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun back then.
I loved
playing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guys serious and went all the way. But, you gotta appreciate the fact that you met a lot of your friends, and we had all those experiences while playing football as a young kid. Yes, we never made it, but I think it's still nice to the story that we have. Growing up playing soccer with our mates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do you think now seeing your kids play, do you see that as kind of the same what it is now as it was back then, or it's changed?
It's gotten a lot
definitely
more.
Oh,
It's changed in the sense. Okay, I'll be honest with you. What I've seen, what I saw before, because my son doesn't play anymore, was there's still that the sponsored kids. There's still Marconi still has to pick.
Very.
And
prevalent.
Sydney United has to pick a certain amount of their guys that they sponsored, like that put money into the club and things like that. So that's still around. But what it is now, it's more of a full-time thing. Like the days of just training once a week and then playing on the weekend, those days are gone. Like the kids train every day now.
Yeah.
every day.
There's like academies popping up everywhere. Like it doesn't have to be every day, say for their club, but most clubs train 3 nights a week, and then the other 2 nights a week, I would say 90% of the kids are doing some sort of football program.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot for kids.
So
And
I know a lot of kids that are training every day of the week. They get Sunday off if they don't play. If they play Saturday, and if, you know what I mean. And it's like, wow, that's full-time football.
Yeah, too
Yeah,
much.
and you got school as well. You chuck in school training and
Too much.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let's go to you.
All right,
Look like you're
bud.
falling asleep there. Let's wake you up a bit.
shower.
Well, look, we all kind of spoke about how we met, etc. When we joined in the Vestuario, bro, I don't think I knew much about you, Dieguito, at that time.
Nah, so Rob, it's my wife's brother, my brother-in-law. He used to speak about you when you were working at the video store, I think in Adenza Park or somewhere.
No, I never worked in a video store.
Or there was another Konya there.
That was another good one.
Well, it wasn't you. No, but he used to mention a Konya, so I assumed it was you when you popped up. But no, I don't think we probably saw each other.
I probably
youth.
bumped into you like maybe when I visited him and you were with Mariela, whatever.
Yeah.
But how long have you been together?
Since '97.
Yeah, okay. Then in our high school days, you would have been senior here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But obviously we didn't speak too much.
I didn't like Bedouinos back then. So.
Yeah.
Coño, you got to remember, Diego's like way older than us.
Yeah, I know, but how
Way
much?
older. Way older.
I'm 46, man. I'm not that old.
But,
Yeah. So how old do you think we are, Diego?
Yeah.
Well, I know Gonya's in his 40s.
Yeah, but I'm
You
the
just
oldest
turned
out of the
40.
rest of the boys, and I'm
Oh, you-
41.
Yeah.
So you're way older.
Fine.
Yeah.
5
Oh,
years.
you're closer to 50 than we are. So I mean,
It's- I am now. I've gone past that halfway mark.
yeah.
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 But yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah, fucking great journey, boys.
Oh man.
It's been good. It's been good. Having, I think we kind of reminisced at how old we were going or how long we were going, and I think it's. I was a bit astonished. I thought it was a lot less than that, but. So,
Yeah, you did establish 2018 or something, eh?
yeah,
2019,
it was very different, very
Yeah.
different. But no, it's been good journey. All right, so a little bit about it. What we'll do, what the Vestuario podcast will be about. It's going to be mainly about sport, mainly about topics that we speak about in our group chat that we got on Messenger, and we kind of hope to get it out to our viewers. I don't think we've got any at the moment, but if there's anyone out there, hello.
Amon's dying to watch it. Don't worry.
We got a waiting list. Don't worry.
Yeah.
There's a waiting list.
Have you got any
I don't
ads
know.
lined up? We can do like Manscaped ads and shit.
They do want to watch it.
And look,
Yeah.
we are open
Johnny,
to
you'd be perfect for it. You'd be perfect, Johnny.
we are open to sponsors. So later on, we might get sponsors on board. We'll give us a few shout outs. But look, the idea is just to banter, just to have a few topics to talk about. Mainly revolving around sports. And with that segue, I want to start on the NRL and AFL semi-finals happening this weekend. I believe Friday we've got both AFL and NRL happening, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough to get my beloved Giants a ticket down to
Hey,
Melbourne.
look at him go.
Yeah, look at him, huh? Down to Melbourne to watch the Giants. And I just found out today from Esty that it's a sold-out event.
Guys, Diego, sorry. Before you go any further, everyone, listen. So Diego, our friend Diego, grew up in Sydney, but moved down to Melbourne, and then decided recently, in the recent years, to move up to Queensland. But he supports the Giants. Now, the newest team in the AFL from Sydney. I don't think
Western Sydney,
there's many
Western
people up at the Sunshine
Sydney.
Coast that go for. Western Sydney. There wouldn't be many people up from the Sunshine Coast that go for the GWS Giants. So I'm interested to know how many fans you think are coming down with you.
I don't know, but if it's a full stadium, there's going to be a few.
Yeah, no,
And
don't
they
get
are
too
pro-
excited.
They are.
It'll be 90,000 pies and probably
Yeah.
3,000 or 4,000 GWS. Don't know
The sponsored fans.
that.
Gonyo, who
Yeah.
you got
Being
this
generous.
weekend?
Yeah, let's talk about Collingwood
No.
Giants.
Collingwood Giants.
A mí que me importa.
He's picky about his sports. He's picky about his sports.
Yeah. He's only got two teams. Two teams he follows.
That's it. It was so hard for me to fucking pick an NRL team. You got to feel a connection.
Yeah, you had to move out of Penrith to start going for it.
Yeah, all that had to happen
I think
was
that's
Penrith
when
had to get the best team that
when you're-
pretty much ever existed in rugby league. Then he jumped
Yeah.
on the bandwagon.
Thanks to Phil
That's
Gould.
it, champion team, but champion.
Yeah.
Hey guys, and when you're Peruvian, you're not still winning much. So you got to be very selective to the teams that that you want to support.
I don't know.
And you can
Feeling like a champion every week in the NRL.
and you can jump ship as
That's
soon
why I
as
jumped
they
ship.
ask.
Don't worry. That's why I'm all AFL. What rugby league? Not
Let's
rugby
go.
league.
Let's go AFL. Go. Let's get the.
Let's just finish it up. All right. Buyers, you're going to go for Collingwood, SD?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Why do you think
I think it'll be a really. It's going to be a very close game. I think Collingwood and Brisbane. It's funny how it's worked out because Collingwood and Brisbane have probably been the two best teams all year, and you got Carlton and GWS coming in. They're firing at the moment, and they're probably the two most informed teams. So the two games are just going to be they're going to be crackers. To be honest, I reckon it's going to be pretty close.
I thought Lions. They didn't have a good start. It was always Port Adelaide for the first.
Well, Port Adelaide, yeah, they were strong. I mean, Brisbane haven't lost a game at home. I think they're 15-0 at home.
Yeah.
So, and they're playing at home on Saturday.
Yep.
So, being a Collingwood supporter, I'm not a big fan of Carlton. So, I'm hoping Brisbane do the job.
Savage.
And
all right. Well,
I
I think Collingwood will be too good for the Giants. I do think the Giants hit their strides, but I think the occasion will get the better of them. And they've probably outdone themselves with that winning streak. So I'll be there supporting Giants, but I don't know if it'll be enough to get over Collingwood.
What's fresh in the Collingwood supporters' minds is 2019, I think it was when they last met in prelim.
Yep.
Collingwood were actually bigger favourites than they are for this game, and GWS actually got the cookies and ended up getting smashed in the final.
Is that playing on your mind, Hesty? Is that being played 100%, on your mind?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But actually, GWS actually playing a lot better. They're see AFL like most Johnny, you'd appreciate this. A lot of the American sports love their stats. It's all about stats, you know. AFL is the same. It's all about the numbers, you know. And 100%. GWS are at the moment number one in all defensive areas, number one in all offensive areas, number one in pressure football. So
is that in your head, Johnny, or you, Esty, or are you writing that down? Those
no, it's all in my head.
That's incredible.
No, I watch on. Yeah, I do like my.
That's why you're the prophet.
Esty the stat man. He's the stat man. Definitely the stat man.
Sometimes stats can be deceiving.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If you go by stats in other sports, Lukaku is a great striker. He scores a lot of
goals. World class, and you know it.
Stats, you gotta be careful with stats.
I've got line, and Gonyo is yawning now, so he's having a great time. Not so much AFL fans. I think the AFL fans here is probably 3 out of the 5, but I think Lions will get over Carlton. I think they've been too good at the Gabba.
I think so as well.
And I think there'll be and I've got a 100-1 tip on them, so I'm hoping they win.
So Collingwood Lions grand final.
Carlton have run their race.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
Carlton beating Melbourne. Melbourne was their grand final.
They were lucky to beat Melbourne.
Yeah.
Well, not lucky. You can't say luck because they hung in there, but Melbourne out straight sets and both times pretty much dominated. Oh well, that going back to your point, John, about stats, so you shouldn't read into it. They won all the stats against Collingwood and against Carlton. Had all the stats, but
they're out. The Demons
because they were inaccurate in front of goals.
Yeah.
So they were missing their set shots, and pressure got to them.
Esty, who do you reckon will be in the grand final?
Collingwood, Brisbane. I think so.
And do you guys agree, Darren, Diego?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah, definitely. Collingwood, I've been saying from the start of the season that they were going to be the champion. And I used it as a bit of a joke at the start with Esty because I was hoping it would backfire, but it hasn't. Collingwood definitely have been the benchmark all season.
You were putting that in the bag emoji, right?
Exactly.
I remember that.
The brown bag.
It actually works for us when we do it about Parramatta, but it doesn't work.
Let's not talk about Para.
Oh, no. Let's talk about Para.
So let's move on.
We don't have to talk about it.
Well, now it's a good segue because then we can talk about the NRL prelims. We've got Panthers Storm, and I still think it's on a Friday, but
that's the Friday night game. Yeah,
I actually feel, I don't know why, I feel the Storm can get the Panthers there.
Why? But why?
No,
just because. Look, out of the 4 teams that are left, I want Penrith to win, right? All the Warriors, because the Warriors have never won it, and I like seeing
up the Waz
win. But Penrith, because it's Penrith, and they'll be one of the best teams to ever compete in the NRL if they do even just make another grand final. Because I think Melbourne's the only other team that made 4 in a row, like in the recent history.
Yeah.
And 2 of them got stripped by 2 of them. Yeah, 06, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we including 09 though?
Yeah, well, they didn't make the final in 09. They won in
I don't know if we should include it though, with all the backlash that came from that. With the
is that when the Eels got stung hard?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that one in.
Yeah.
Melbourne were over the salary cap and they were taking brown paper bags.
Yeah, if Penrith do make the final, it'd be great. But I don't know. I just think like it's been 4 years. At some point, you think the bubble's got to burst. I think Melbourne can get them, but I'll be honest with you. Even if they do make the final, I think Brisbane are the team to beat this year. I think Brisbane's going to win it all. And I can't stand the Broncos, but I think they'll win it.
that's the thing that I wanted to say. Like, I wanted to ask you boys, because I've only really been paying attention to the NRL properly, maybe just this season, right? The other couple of seasons, enjoyed it, watched a few games, etc. Most of the seasons, but this year, I feel like I've actually paid attention to most teams. But I feel like Penrith and Brisbane has been like Man City and Liverpool in that year,
Yeah.
where just
They've been the best two teams.
and they just
Yeah, 100%.
like
Yeah.
levels above everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
that-
other teams have been surprisingly good, like the Warriors. I mean, but you look across their team, they're pretty strong. They've been good. They got a fortress at home as well.
The thing with Melbourne is they're the
and-
greatest.
Well, my question is, this doesn't really happen, right? This type of dominance, like throughout the leagues, or does it?
Yeah, Melbourne.
It has in the past.
Melbourne,
It has.
Manly have Brisbane
Brisbane in the 90s. Brisbane in the 90s. Yeah.
But
The most recent
Canberra in the early
Storm
90s.
just kill. Most recent one in this era has been Melbourne. Like this is Penrith is the new Melbourne.
Your boys, the Chookies, went, I think, from about 2013 to about 2019. They made a lot of grand finals there and won, what, 3 or something?
Nah, not
I think
that many.
You went back to back. You went back to back in 17,
then
18 or
they lost.
18, 19?
Yeah, they went back to back and then lost. I think in a prelim. I don't think they made the grand final.
Nah.
Three
the
in a
big-
row.
Talking
Big
about
one
in
was-
like I'm talking about in like a 6-7 year stint.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
They
that's when
won
Cooper
one
Cronk
in
went over.
2013 or something as well. Yeah.
Gonyo, to answer that question, like I think this would help answer that question, is that you don't see as much dominance as you do in the EPL because of the salary cap. Because everyone's got the same spend, it generally means that it's more even throughout. And that's why it's so impressive what Penrith are doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Is that they've been able to stay under the salary cap. They've had to shift players. They've brought young players up, and they still seem to be that benchmark in the.
Look at the players they lost. They've lost
exactly.
all these
right.
players, and they're still like
kick out. Is a big one. He was
Kick out,
a
Carousel.
Carousel.
Carousel as well, the hooker.
So you look, that's going to be so that dominance that you're talking about, Daz. That has the feel good effect, right? So feel good went to Panthers, built this development system. He's now at the Doggies. The Doggies will end up being not too distant future the new Penrith.
It's almost a mirror. It's almost a mirror image.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
happen.
I thought we were gonna. I
don't know about
that.
And this year we're.
Yeah, but don't forget.
To obviously, but I can't. I
It
thought
won't
this
happen
was
the first year,
that we'd. I thought this was the year that we were not going to crack the top 8, but it would be close to the top 8, and then next year obviously crack into the top 8, and it's a work in progress. But this year we were defensively the worst team in the league, even though we didn't get the wooden spoon. We let in more points than the fucking Tigers, so we're terrible.
You also had a lot of injuries all season. You know, signings. Kickout was signed and hardly played the whole season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I feel sorry for the
even in
Fox.
your back-
If
your
I was
back
the
line-
Fox, if I was Addo Carr, I'd be looking
Yeah.
at the team going, "Come on, boys, what the fuck? Like,
Give
what
it
I come
time.
here?"
You got to give it time. All right, so we've got. Do we agree? We got Panthers. Who said Storm?
I said Storm. You know
Penrith.
why? Tell me if you guys agree with me or not, because I know everyone worships Wayne Bennett as the GOAT. I think Craig Bellamy is the greatest, is the GOAT of coaches. He's the greatest coach in NRL history for me. And because of Craig
I
tend to
Bellamy,
agree.
because
Hard
of
to
Craig
argue.
Bellamy, you can't count out the Storm. If the Storm go to Penrith and beat them, it's not a surprise.
How many times has it always been? Oh, this is the year Melbourne don't make the 8 or not, and they make top 4.
seem to
Grind
do
it
that.
out.
That one year they lost Inglis. They lost Who else did they
Palau.
lose? Yeah, all these not because of the salary cap. They lost all these players, and they still kept just like business as usual. He's got this knack, Bellamy, of just bringing players that are has-beens or on the edge, and just making them superstars. So
Yeah, but then it comes back down to. So then it comes,
Yeah.
for me, it comes down to people or players wanting to play for the coach, right? So we'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll tap onto the Man U issue in the next topic here. But I think if your players are wanting to play for the coach and has got that respect, you're going to get results, mate. And I think that's what's happening with the Storm. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. I think the Panthers
they were lucky to get past the Roosters, to be honest. And Roosters were banged up. They had a lot of injuries. And
They had Manu and
they scraped through.
Suwali out. Manu and Suarez
Yeah.
as well.
I was actually surprised the Roosters made the top 8 because at one point in the season,
didn't think
you
they were
guys
gonna
got
go
They were 1 minute away from making a prelim. That's
Yeah.
from where they were like 8 weeks ago. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just crazy to think that.
Can we touch on last year's grand finalists? How down? From grand finalist to 10th?
Look, again, look, this is a perfect example of the Roosters. The Roosters, right? If we had, I know the Roosters smashed us in that game not far from the end of the season. But if Parramatta had actually a one game, we would have been in the 8, and the Roosters would have been. That's how it actually ended up in the end. We would have been in the top 8 if we had won that one game. So that one game is the difference between everyone saying, "Wow, the Roosters, they've done well to make it." To Parramatta, cannot believe they didn't make the semi-finals.
Yeah.
There was one game in it. And we were disappointing.
You know why I like to bust balls with Para, but I do understand what you're saying, how they're too good not to make the top 8. It's unbelievable they didn't make it. Is you guys did the double over Penrith this year.
Yeah.
You guys beat them home and away.
We did it last year as well.
It's a typical Parramatta trait that we have.
We did double over, but then lost twice to them in the finals.
It's
when
crazy.
When it matters, when it matters.
So, Conyo, you got Panthers, yeah? You're going Panthers.
Of course.
There's two names. There's two names.
Tom's $4.75.
Yeah, listen, there's two names, and the reason why Penrith beat Parramatta in those finals games. You got Brad Arthur and Ivan Cleary, and we were just talking about great coaches. For me, that's where the difference lies. You got the difference is you got Ivan Cleary that knows how to get his team up for those big games, and they've done it time and time again. Unfortunately, Arthur hasn't been able to do that for us. So there again, just talking about coaches can make all the difference in those big games.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of Ivan Cleary as a coach, but I think he's got the team behind him, and they're going to perform for him. And you're right, I don't think Brad Arthur's had that for years. I still don't know why he's your coach, but
why don't you rate Ivan Cleary though?
I don't think he's a good coach.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he just got the?
I don't think you can say that really.
Nah, he's like Penrith have been the last 4 years has been the bench.
Yeah, how do you say it? It's got to be.
Are you coming from the angle of that anyone can coach that Penrith squad?
100%.
Yeah, I get that.
I think this is the Phil Gould effect, and he's just been fortunate enough to get a well-developed young Penrith squad for years on years.
I don't know. Yeah, he's still got to coach him.
I don't agree with that at all. Don't agree with that. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Conyo?
I don't fucking know much, but just that we're winning, then that's it.
Champion!
If Penrith win, Conyo's celebrating three grand finals.
Yeah, but look, I'll be honest.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes, but I'll be honest. Like, even watching Brisbane this year, I'm a little bit worried about them.
They're a good team. Very good team.
It's going to be, I think.
You look at the players they got. Payne Haas, number 1 forward in the game, bar none. Really, no one comes close to him.
I think
Adam
Broncos have got it this year, boys. Yeah.
I think
Broncos have got it this year, boys.
I think Broncos will win.
I reckon it's a
Broncos Panthers.
I reckon it's a 50-50 game, that grand final, if it goes to them. And I feel like it'll belong to whoever that energy is. I don't know. When I looked at the Panthers and I saw that energy within the dressing room, Luai and the boys, like getting on their knees and praying after the whistle, and there was a togetherness. I feel like Brisbane have that right now.
Yeah, and you got that. I don't know how I feel about him, to be honest, but that fullback of theirs, Reece Walsh, he's a gun. There's something that just irks me. Just he's
too cocky.
Like, he's very cocky, and he's proving it at the moment. But that hit, I don't know if you saw it. I don't know who was it that from Canberra. The player he sort of stopped mid game. I don't know if you saw it, and he came from the side and just cleaned him out.
Oh, cleaned him out, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Mate, that was, for me, that was brilliant. I love that because he was too cocky. He's just like, I'm just gonna. I think it was about 10 seconds left on the clock. I thought I'm just gonna walk this out, and he got creamed.
He got absolutely smashed.
Wake up.
Yeah,
Wake
yeah.
up, mate. But he's a gun player.
Hey, he's only 20 years old. 20
Yeah,
years old.
that's why. That's that. You got to give him. You got to give him that. You got to give him that.
Incredible how
That
young
leeway.
he is, you got to give him a little bit of time.
Oh,
to
he's a
mature.
gun.
He needs to mature.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he does.
You-
Yeah,
you-
but
you-
he's a
you
freak
know-
of a player. You can't catch him when he's in that mode.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't take too much away from him, man, because that cockiness and that makes him so electric on that field.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a Penrith and Brisbane final because I think it would be a crazy game. It would be pretty good.
Yeah,
But
I think
the
we all
Warriors,
agree that should.
the Warriors.
Nah. I think
I
it's
mean,
gonna
I'd love
be
the Warriors to get in there, but I think the Warriors will get beaten comfortably.
I think we all agree
they
it's
will
going to be
get
a Panthers Broncos, and if you're
I'm still
neutral,
thinking
it's going to
Melbourne.
be an absolute cracker of a game. I think so.
I think so as well.
Very good. All right, let's move on because we're running out of time. But and this is probably one of the topics that we all want to talk about: the football wrap up over the weekend. And
Esther wants to talk about it.
predominantly, it's going to be more about the EPL, and I can probably tell by the excitement, it's going to be a Man U bashing for all of our audience out there. Esther and myself are Man U fans. Some of the people in the group probably suggest I'm fans of other clubs as well, but I love it, Man U.
Only Man
pickle.
U's biggest rival. But
So, well, let's start on Man U.
Yeah,
Let's start on Man U. They got
Where do you start?
they got creamed at home, 3-1, I think it was, by Brighton.
3-1.
it
Yeah.
should have been more.
Easy. That's
so
the worst start. At home.
What are we thinking? What's going wrong?
Look,
You wanna start
there's dramas,
this?
obviously. Oh,
We'll leave it
there's
to
dramas there.
Esty and Jago. Let's ask you guys first. What do you think's going wrong at your club?
Oh, it's deeper than what's happening on the field. There's a lot of issues. That you got the Anthony saga, which cannot help the dressing room
And now
morale.
there's a Sancho saga.
Now and the Sancho as well. That it's been leaked out. So that's two big sort of public issues or personal issues that have been made public. That cannot, just one of those alone can affect team morale and everything inside. Plus the results, the results add on that. I don't like using the injuries, but we do have a couple of key defensive injuries. You can't have Lindelof and Maguire as our centre backs and expect to beat or to beat anyone or in the game without them with us conceding without conceding. So, and then I don't know, the easy thing to do is to blame Ten Hag and say he's not, but I don't know. It's
This is why I reckon Ten Hag does have something to blame. Because if you go pound for pound, the Man U team that played against Brighton, player by player, Man U should still be able to beat Brighton. I know Brighton are playing amazing and they got a real energetic young squad, but that's because of how good De Zerbi is, their manager. Put it this way, you put De Zerbi, you swap the two managers around, Man U wins that game.
he's a gun. And again, Brighton, look at the players they've lost, and they're so competitive. They're still a very good team. They're almost like.
And I seen the stat the other day, yesterday, that Brighton had won the last 4 games in a row now against Man United. Is that right?
Yeah.
The last 4 games in a row.
Yes, yeah. I saw that. Yeah. Last year they beat us in the opening 2-1.
Yeah.
All under Ten Hag.
Yeah, there was a 4-0 thrashing there somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was the start of the season last year. We lost to them at home. Oh, that was 2-1 Brighton at home, and then we lost away to Brentford 4-0. That was Ten Hag's first 2 games at Man United, and then obviously after the World Cup he steadied the ship, but it's just.
And I know, Esther, you keep blaming the Glaziers and it's a boardroom issue, but ultimately, I believe you get past that. As a squad, you got to be able to put. They're all professionals, right? You got to be able to put that aside. And it came down to our NRL analogy that you got to have a squad that wants to play for your coach, right? So I look at Liverpool now, and I know you're gonna hate me saying this, but they're wanting to play for their coach, right? Look at Pep. They've got a gun team, but open wallet, but it's Pep. Everyone wants to play.
Well, there's also what Ten Hag is trying to do is change the culture of the club. Now, there's a lot of players at that club that have been there for a long time. They haven't moved. Maguire had the opportunity to go to West Ham. He didn't want to go. He wanted to stay at Man United. So, and I'm hearing reports now that if he had gone, we would have picked up the name escapes me, but we would have picked up a couple of extra players with that fee. So, you got a lot of players that are sticking around. He's trying to change the culture of the club.
Yeah.
and the players don't like it. They don't like this strict sort of method that he's bringing to the club. Look at Sancho. He's giving Sancho quite a few opportunities. Even giving him time off to sort of recuperate or mentally get strong again. So that's another thing. I don't think a lot of the players that have sort of enjoyed the luxury of just getting paid and going about the business, playing for Man United. I'm a Man United player, but you're not doing anything. You're not winning any competitions. And he's coming in, he's changing everything, and there's a lot of players that don't like it. Ronaldo too, for an example, he sort of didn't like his approach. Now, with Cristiano Ronaldo, I agree with what he said about the Glazers. The club's falling apart. The stadium, you probably heard the term mold Trafford.
Yeah.
So it's falling apart. There's reports of leakages in the roof and plumbing, leakage, and we're talking about Man United here. It's not.
Yeah.
This is
it's a big club, big history.
Yeah. So that's where I
one
believe
question
that the Glazers have some answering to do.
But this is what I wanted to ask you regarding the Glazers. A lot of the fans want them out, right? They can't stand them. And I get what you're saying about the training facility and the Old Trafford and all that, right? But apart from PSG and Chelsea, Man United have spent the most money over the last few years, right? So you can't really blame it all on the Glazers. Like, I wanted Stan Kroenke out for so long because he would not spend fucking money at Arsenal. He made Arsene Wenger, make do with whatever scraps he could make do with, right? Where Man U have been given money. You guys have spent over $1 billion in the last, since I think Van Gaal, Mourinho, and
half of that was Mourinho.
Yeah.
So if the owners are giving you money to spend, it's
that's the issue too. They're not spending it on the right players. And one thing, like for example, Man United might go for a player that's 40 million pounds, all right? And any other club can buy for that much. Man United come along, it's automatic. It's 80 million. Yeah. We can never we're paying overs all the time for every single player. We're paying overs.
Clubs.
All the big clubs.
Example.
Yeah.
Pogba.
Yeah. Okay, Pogba, Maguire. Maguire. I think we spent 80 million on Maguire. Maguire could have went.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens to all the big clubs, but this is where Ten Hag probably got to take some responsibility. Some of the players he's brought in, like Anthony, I was a big fan, and I still got with all this drama now. I don't know how long it's going to be out with this court case pending. I still want to give him time. He's still young. He's got the potential, and it's not easy coming to a club like Man United and all of a sudden from game one the pressure's on. You have to perform, or else you're out.
Yeah, so it happened with Di Maria as well, right? So he came.
Yeah, he
came to the club with high expectations. He struggled. Veron struggled. So there's a lot of weight because there's a lot of history in that club.
Yeah,
I think you got to do it. You got to do it.
But I'm not saying that Ten Hag is blameless in any of this, but we can't. We have to. Arteta finished 8th in his first 2 years, back to back. So this is only his second year. So, yes, his first year he won a League Cup. People don't rate it. Some people say yes, it's a cup. We'll take it. Finished top 4. At the moment, they're struggling big time. We're only 5 games in. We've got to give him time. He's got to have time to implement.
How much time do you give him though?
Half the season, I'd say. Minimum.
Half the season?
Maximum. Yeah, half the season.
Oh, guys, do you think we're talking about this the way we are and about Ten Hag and Manchester United because of the expectation? I mean, we all grew up when the EPL started, I guess, in the 90s when it really came to, we got, vision in Australia of what EPL was, I remember I listened to it on 2KY radio. I'd stay up at night listening to the...
We used to watch EPL. 1 hour highlights. 1 hour
highlights, whatever it was. But it was known then that Man United were the pinnacle. We grew up just thinking Man United were always going to win. And then I just think over the last, I don't know how long, they're not one of the... Obviously, they're still a big club, don't get me wrong. But I just think that there's so many other clubs now in the EPL that have come up to that level and even succeeded at that level. You've got guys like Man City, even Liverpool to a degree. That they weren't ever in that talk where Man United had been for a long time as the pinnacle and the top team. But I think now we're so critical of Manchester United. everyone is so critical of that way they are, and like you're saying, we're only going to give Ten Hag 6 months.
It's the most supported club in the world, but that's the thing. Man United
that comes with pressure, doesn't it?
Man United is the biggest club in the world, which you would think that's got to. They also, I think they're valued the same or more than Real Madrid, or around that price.
Yeah, I believe
the stock market and stuff like that, and stock exchange. So that it's a valuable club. It's the most supported club in the world. It's got to be doing better. And the fear that I always have with Man United, because I'm actually happy that they're not doing well, but the fear that I have with Man United is that as bad as they can be for a decade, because it's been a decade since Fergie left, you always have this feeling that they can just turn it on. Because they need the right coach or the right sporting director, and they would be able to turn it on. Because you know who did it? Liverpool. Liverpool sucked for a while.
A long time,
They were out of the top 4 for a while. Steven Gerrard was their only good player for a while. And then all of a sudden, they had that year when they had Suarez. Or I think it was they looked dangerous with Torres, and they got Suarez and Xabi Alonso and Xabi Alonso. They started getting better. And then they got a proper coach in Klopp, and look at what they've won.
Yeah, what he's done. You're right.
That was great for football.
That could very easily happen with Man United.
Alright, guys, so listen, do we think, I know it's only early in the season, what are we now, 5 games in?
Yeah.
5 games
What are we, 5 games in? Can Manchester United turn it around this season and fight for the title? What's your thoughts?
No.
Title, definitely not. Title's too far.
They'll struggle to make Europa.
Nah, but remember this year, boys, it's top 5.
Really?
Yeah. Top 5 Champions League.
It's not Champions League anymore, is it?
Nah.
Yeah, it's not. It's your pretty good league.
Yeah.
I think Man U can get 5th. I think Man U will battle.
So Man United are the top 2 team this year. We're making that apparent right now.
City, Liverpool, I think Arsenal.
I think it's between them 3.
Top 3.
Yeah.
And Tottenham, Newcastle, Brighton for that 4th, 5th spot. And Man United will be in with Chelsea, West Ham, probably Aston Villa.
I don't think Chelsea are going to be in the top 10. Chelsea struggle to make top 10, to be honest.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how are they escaping? Yes, they're copying some criticism, but all I hear is about Man United. It's all Man United. And yet Chelsea they do copy their criticism.
Chelsea are copying it too. It's just because Man United.
Yeah, it's probably my timeline just pops up and United.
Yeah. You know what I heard about Chelsea? You know what I heard about Chelsea? My son Lucas was telling me. He goes that it's so hard. He was listening to a podcast that they were saying it's so hard for the coach to manage that group of players because he needs 6 interpreters with him. There's 6 different languages that have to get interpreted for him to get his message across to the players because there's that many players, that many different languages in the change room. Shit's going to get lost in translation, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a hard job for any.
Chelsea's that team that you put together in Ultimate Football on FIFA, and chemistry would be like 9 out of 30 or so. It's like there's no they're just bought players, but there's no chemistry.
No chemistry.
They're just crazy. Yeah. Chemistry's low.
I'm going to keep this moving, boys, because I don't want it to go, but I do want to make a mention of the Serie A on the weekend. There was the Milan derby. We had Inter and Milan. And Inter got the goods 5-1. That was a shocker. And Milan's 3rd, so they're not they're not in the bottom half of the table. So that was a bit shocking. So that's probably the highlight of the other weekend. And make mention of probably Nottingham Forest goal if you haven't seen it, and that 1-1 draw. Absolutely cracker.
Oh yeah.
So get on to that one.
PSG losing at home on the weekend was good too. For some reason, I don't like them anymore.
Do we look at PSG anymore? No Neymar, no Messi. Has the noise gone away?
They've got Mbappe. They've got Mbappe, who I think is the greatest player in the world at the moment. I think he's better than Haaland.
I think his talent is wasted at the French league.
Yeah. 100%.
But 100%. But
so do I.
I just think PSG is just a dumpster fire, man.
All right, we're running out of time. I want to move on. I want to move on to the football preview this week. Arsenal and Tottenham. We've got 2 massive Arsenal fans here.
Diego, sorry to stop you. Just before we move on to the weekend, Champions League starts tomorrow morning, boys.
No, how did we miss that?
Yeah.
How did we miss that?
Champions League
Munich
tomorrow
versus Man
morning,
United.
guys.
Is
That's
it?
Thursday. Yeah, Bayern, Man United.
So we've got Champions League tomorrow morning, boys, and Thursday. So,
How
it's going
did
to be a
we
last
miss that?
night, boys.
Couple of
And,
big ties. PSG, Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle.
And guys,
That should be interesting.
How about
That's your old team,
Newcastle? Newcastle back in the in the Champions League.
And they're going to the San Siro.
I reckon Newcastle.
I am happy for them, and I hope they do well.
Conyo, now don't jump back.
Shut the fuck up.
Although Newcastle in the EPL has had a shocking start, so I think
Yeah, surprisingly.
But
So
they played good teams, like you know.
And was it? Wait, sorry. Was it Milan? AC Milan that won?
yeah,
5-1 to Inter. Yeah.
That was a shocker.
Great,
That's
yeah.
good. I did not know. Who shows the Champions League now? Stan?
Stan
yeah.
Sport.
Stan,
Arsenal, PSV
So,
on the Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Champions
We
League season.
got
How
it.
good's that?
We got an easy group, but we'll make it hard.
That'll be our wrap up next week. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's talk about
yeah.
Arsenal and Tottenham.
We'll
Two
beat
big
them.
Arsenal fans in Johnny and Gonyo.
1.5 big Arsenal fans.
Wow.
Yeah.
You reckon
we're
Arsenal got the
loving
goods?
gig instead.
I reckon Tottenham got the goods.
Nah.
Big Ange,
At
They'll get
the
a
Emirates?
draw.
I
They'll
reckon
get a draw
At the Emirates.
at the Emirates. I reckon
At the Emirates.
probably gets a bit of a shock here.
Guys,
Who?
I think they'll build a statue. They'll build a statue for Ange if they win this game. What do you
If
reckon?
they win this game,
If
they
they
probably won't matter what he does the rest of the year.
I've watched a lot of Ange's.
Yeah,
But I think
agree.
probably cops a little 3-1 loss here.
Ooh.
3-1.
Yeah.
Maybe because a lot of people are saying Ange boy is not sustainable.
It's
It's like an
all out
attacking.
they're very
attacking.
open. I reckon, in my opinion.
Oh, they were fortunate to get past.
It's very similar to how Bielsa plays. To be completely honest, guys,
Yeah,
I watched a few of Tottenham games this year, and it really reminded me of when Leeds came up to the Premier League and when we were firing with Bielsa. The intensity of the players, they've all bought into the system, and they've done the same
It's
with
amazing,
Ange.
eh?
And,
Yeah.
it's
Is
exciting
Leeds still in the
football.
Premier League, Daz? Is Leeds still in the Premier League?
No,
That was
no,
uncalled
I'm
for.
sure you
That
do.
was-
I'm sure
That was
you
no
do.
need. That
I'm
was
sure they
wasn't
did.
necessary.
Look, I know we're running out of time today, but I'd be more than happy to give you a championship wrap every week. Don't worry.
No, we do need one. We do need
Start
one.
from next week.
What I find amazing with Ange, with that group of players, is how disgusting did they play under Antonio Conte, and the same group of players are killing it under Ange.
Yeah.
Back to my
Terrible.
point. Back to my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Players
it's
didn't want to play for
very
Conte.
true.
Conte had a big attitude problem, and I don't think those players.
But he plays a boring style of football.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
and that,
It's like a Mourinho-esque.
Yeah,
shocking.
very
I think they
defensive,
relied too
attacking.
heavily on Kane.
I think we'll beat.
But you know what, guys? I have to agree with Conyo. I think Arsenal are going to win. I think he'll be humbled this weekend, and I'm predicting maybe a high scoring game, maybe 4-2 Arsenal.
Ooh.
Could be. I'd
How
like
do you guys see Arsenal at the start of this EPL? Pretty much how they left off.
Nah,
No,
worrying.
not at all. Last year
Worrying?
we started the year off flying. This year we've started with scraping wins.
Yeah,
It's still 4 wins and 1 draw.
I
So
noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one draw,
Maybe
But that
you
one
want
draw
that.
was
Maybe you want to
at
finish
home.
off good this year, not like last year. You were terrible
yeah,
at the
no,
end.
but
You know what I mean?
this is what I said.
Got
This
that
is
in
what
my
I said
head
to my
as well.
son.
Yeah, 100%.
This is what I said to my
last year,
son.
the
We don't drop
preseason-
points to Fulham.
Last year in the preseason, man, there was something about it. There was a buzz. There, we were solid at the
Yes.
back. We were very. There was so much creativity and goals up front. That was
Yeah.
preseason, and I said to John, I said to the group, man, something's happening here. Something's happening. Like, and then we just started off that season firing, and we kept going. We lost some stupid games, etc. But now, that fire, that there's something. It's just that
Do you
something's
find-
missing. Something's
Do you
missing.
find that Arteta's trying to be too clever? I don't like what he's doing with the keepers at the moment. He's fucking around with goalkeepers.
Yeah, I read about that.
Injuries.
Wait, so he's taking out. Is he swapping them?
But what was the reason?
Yeah.
What was the reason behind it? I read it. I
Because
heard about it.
Ramsdale's not good with his feet, and Raya is. He wants an Edison type of keeper.
Okay.
But was he saving
what he's
him from
doing-
Champions League?
But what he's doing is like come out and say this one's going to be my number one keeper, this guy's going to be my number two, and keep it that way. That's good. But he's going to play. He's going to do. He's going to do what Pep Guardiola did that year where he had, I think, Ter Stegen playing one cup, like say Champions League, and then he had what was it? That fucking who was that? The guy that ended up going to Man United, that other keeper. He was playing. He was playing for Barcelona in the comp, and I just think to myself, you need a settled keeper, mate. Keepers that
Bad
position
rotation, right? There's a lot of games they play now.
Yeah, but a keeper, really, you need to rotate a keeper.
I'm happy at that level. I'm happy at that level. If you've got two world-class keepers, then to mix them up, especially if you're playing Champions League, you know,
A lot
on
of
the
games,
midweek, and then I'm happy for that. If that was my team, I'd be happy for that. To be honest.
And don't forget, they're not training twice a week, right? They're training professionals. Like it's even at training, they're not taking it easy.
I
quite
don't think we'll win it. I think Arsenal will get top 4. I don't think we'll win it for the main reason that we do not have a striker. I love Gabriel Jesus, but he's not a 20 goal a season striker. He's we need a number 9 bad. That Nketiah, I don't rate him. There's talks of us getting Ivan Toney in January because his thing will be over. His ban will be over.
He's tarnished, mate.
I don't know. I maybe look at Ivan Toney as a bit of like a Lukaku. Like he scores a lot of goals in Brentford, that type of team. But you put him in a big 6 team, I don't know if he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So no, we're thinking big score. Arsenal, Tottenham. Arsenal will go home with the win.
What time is that? What time is that going on?
It's 1:30 Monday morning.
Oh,
And Man U away to Burnley. That's going to be
Monday morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Jason Company's Burnley.
I'm just worried about Bayern Munich first.
I think that's 11 o'clock here.
Monday.
Sunday night.
11 o'clock Saturday night.
Sunday night.
Sunday night or
It's
Saturday
11
night?
11 o'clock.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not too bad.
That's a good time to watch.
I mean, it's a 1 o'clock finish.
But let's be honest. Does anyone see Man City not winning it again? Because I reckon they're going to win it again.
Too good, mate. When you got Alvarez and Haaland scoring now. So Alvarez is on because De Bruyne's injured.
They've got
Which
two
is sideline?
world-class number 9s. That's not fair.
Last weekend, both got on the score sheets, and you'll get 20 to 30 goals from Haaland again this season.
Easy.
How do you stop it, mate?
You got quality players like Grealish not even playing at the moment, is he? Like,
They sold Mahrez. They sold Mahrez because he was.
They sold Mahrez.
How good?
Yeah, that's
Ridiculous.
Just crazy. Their whole squad from the back to front, incredible.
They got 2 teams.
We're going to end our
100%.
first podcast, and we've got over time, but the topics are amazing. Everyone will know, October 14th, if you haven't registered to vote, register. There is a big event happening in Australia called the Referendum, the Voice to Parliament. I was a bit dubious about some of the ways we were going to vote from some people in this group, but some interesting conversations came out of it. So the yes-no vote, I was on the fence, I think, along with yourself, Johnny.
Yeah, I was on the fence.
But then there was a few comments made about which way or the benefits and the pros and cons of the vote. But Esty, do you want to share what your thoughts are?
Well, it's more about the equality of the Constitution. It should be equal for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're Indigenous, you're a migrant, a new migrant, a second generation Australian. So what the Voice proposes is, the sort of Indigenous Australians the Indigenous Australians will have sort of the final say in most any law that's proposed. It's got to go. They almost have the final say of any proposed law changes in the Constitution. So it's going to come down to them deciding whether, and that goes across any issue, any matter will sort of pretty much come down to whether they're going to have the final say, pretty much in any.
But it's interesting,
laws,
right? So. Because when Labor go out there and they mention it won't be like that.
Well, It's
so interesting how it comes around,
saying.
Right? So
So how is Labor selling it?
It's an advisory. They're going to make a board type of thing, and it's going to be more of an advisory.
Advisory group.
Yeah, that's it.
how we should manage issues related to First Nations people. That's
what made me swing. That's what made me swing to yes, because I thought, well, it's just advisory group. It's not final say. You know what I mean?
We're on the news. We've got Jacinta Price, who's very no. She's on the very extreme of the no, and she gives her reasons that the Aboriginal people, the First Nations people, are already in Parliament. They already have a voice, so to speak, within the Parliament. So we don't need an advisory board to do that. And I was actually quite surprised. Why aren't we doing more with the Aboriginal people rather than having to go do this whole referendum, which is costing, I don't know, $400 million to do this referendum, right? So,
wow.
So it's a lot of money.
She's not the only one.
Yeah, the other thing. The other thing
is against it too.
The other thing I heard. Yeah. Yes. The other thing I heard, guys, and I don't know too much about it, to be completely honest. It's just I actually read today that the Indigenous mobs, there's obviously different mobs that they, that live in different places all over Australia. One thing that stood out to me that I read is that they don't speak for each other. So each mob doesn't actually speak for each other; they speak for their own mob. So coming up with a voice that basically. Correct. Yeah. So having a voice or an advisory or whatever they're calling it, speaking, on behalf of each and every mob, they don't agree with it. The mobs aren't agreeing with it because they speak for themselves. So I think that's a really important factor in this, and I think some people have got lost in what it actually means and what it's actually for. And I don't believe that they're really listening to the Indigenous people. To be honest, I think they feel like it's it's what's happening in life at the moment. There's all these new ways of how you address someone or who they are or what they are. There's we know we're hearing about it all the time, aren't we? All these new ways that we have to speak about people and. What we can say and can't say and what have you. I think these people have just jumped on board with that and saying, yeah, we're going to support this, that they need this without actually knowing what the reason is behind it,
But I know it's a controversial thing with the yes and the no, but let's all agree, for all our viewers, we're not racist. We all agree we need to do more for First Nations.
100%, yeah.
But this whole vote on the voice to Parliament has been a bit divisive this week on our chat. So it's an interesting topic. There was a post made from yourself, Esty, about Jacinta Price and what she said on TikTok, which probably nailed it for me and pushed me over to the no vote. So I'll be quite open and go to the no. But it's interesting. I think we're going to be a bit more divisive, a bit more separated when we should all be.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Even the way they've done it is like vote yes or no for them, the Indigenous people to have a voice. Kind of even makes you feel like a prick if you vote no, because you kind of feel like you're voting no. They should have a voice.
Yeah,
that's not it.
Exactly right.
And the left are intent on making you feel that way.
Yeah.
They're already saying in a roundabout way. If you vote no, you're racist. You're a bigot. Like you don't want. No, that's not. That's not true at all. So it's just the thought of having
the background behind the reason.
Yeah. The thought of allowing any racial group, whether it be Indigenous, that power, that authority of having that final say in any constitutional change, that's not a democracy. That's you're that's very dangerous in my way, because who knows where they stop or what happens from then on. But it is a very contentious topic, and it'll be interesting as we get closer to that date. It's going to be.
Has anyone received text messages from the yes campaigns?
No.
I've received a few mails from.
I don't think I've received a text. No, I don't think so.
Well, apparently they're going. I haven't received one either. But make sure you go vote. If you don't, it's $20 fine.
Was that all?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
might be a good one to pass up. God, you're used to getting fines anyway.
I was just about to say, yeah.
All right.
There you go.
we come to an end of our first episode. It's probably a bit shaky. We will improve over time, and I said to Dad before we started, in a year's time, if we're still doing this, we'll probably look back and look at what we looked like and how we spoke and etc. But it's been fun, boys. To top it off, whose vote for Bet with Mates this week?
Yeah,
I think I'm up.
You're up.
No pressure.
Sorry, boys.
Bet with Mates. It's one of a little group.
Actually, perfect prelim weekend. So it should be.
Yeah, should be
we'll talk about that in a future podcast.
I've always wanted to say this. Don't forget to click and subscribe
to our channel. To our YouTube channel. Down the
like button.
I'm going to learn how to do it first ourselves. How do we do it?
I've done it already. No videos have been uploaded. I've already liked.
This is a first video.
Hey, there's three subscribed. I think 2 of them are mine. I don't know how I accidentally.
Straight away, we're getting subscribers. Don't worry.
All right, boys.
Fantastic.
It's getting late, and I think we're losing Gonya there. He's getting a bit slaty, but thanks for your time, and until next week, we'll chat then.
See ya.
See you, boys.